Hey, good evening. It's Cincy Life Community News. It's January 9th, 2013. Jeez, getting it all fumbled up. Yeah, January 9th, 2013. Thanks for joining us. A couple of things that I wanted to talk about, but religion conversations. Like, there was a post recently on Facebook. Somebody posted, hey, I got info on Bigfoot, and then somebody responds on their chat, hey, aren't you also a Christian? And they had a good laugh about it. And it was funny because just about a month ago I had made a video about Bigfoot, which you can see at my xcannabis.com channel here on YouTube, or you can search it at xcannabis.com. I think I also put it on sencylife.com, but I'm not sure. I'll have to put it on there if not, or I'll put a link to it at the bottom of this video. That's what I'll do. Anyway, and so we had a good chuckle about it. But then, people are talking about, well, hey, you could prove the dark side of the moon easier than you can prove God. Heck, you can prove Bigfoot easier than you can prove God. And I said, well, I think I've got proof of God, and I think that people shouldn't limit possibilities if they want to actually be scientifically minded and open to new things that they possibly don't know about. That's scientifically minded, if you ask me. Always being curious and always searching for new revelations about the inner workings of the universe, or whatever science you're interested in. But to limit possibilities by saying, well, I've never seen him, so he doesn't exist, that just doesn't seem logical to me. I mean, the people who suspected that there was an atom 100 years ago, but didn't have any measurement of it, and didn't really have any proof that it existed, just mathematically and theoretically, even philosophizing on science without any given destination, just thinking about possibilities. And then 40 years later or so, maybe 50 years later, after the first theories of atoms existed, they found measurements, ways to measure an atom, and ways to measure DNA, and ways to measure all these other things that we've never saw before. We didn't know of. It was invisible to our naked eye. And so Joe Rogan has a theory. I just want to be quick about this, but Alex Jones and Joe Rogan did a show, and this was in 2009. I just want to show you. By this Hashstar has republished this this podcast of Alex Jones and Joe Rogan talking about DMT, which the whole interview is great. I really love Joe Rogan. I love Alex Jones. I'm really getting into Adam Kokesh, really interested in him. But I just don't have a lot of time for radio anymore, so I don't listen to the normal stuff. I don't listen to Russ Belleville. I dropped a whole bunch of my regular shows, and a lot of the shows I listen to regularly on blogtalkradio.com, which is a great place to find talk radio and live call-ins and the whole thing. But I just haven't had a lot of time. We got 3 kids now, working full-time. Barely time to breathe sometimes, so we don't have a lot of extra time. So I've just kind of started up sencylife.com and redirected all of the other websites to point to Cincy Life, so that I'll blog once and I'll keep everything fresh and up to date, but I won't have to continue to worry about content on all of them, and I kind of did. I don't know why. I wanted to keep things fresh, keep things at the top of the search engines, keep my message in front of people, because there's things in my heart that I want to get out to other people. I want to share, and sometimes people don't always take it well. Sometimes people get downright pissed off, but I say what's on my mind. I say it honestly as I possibly can. Like about the white mummies, the red-headed giants in America. The oldest, Native American tribes came from Europe, is what they're saying. 15,000 BC, which is roughly 17,000 years ago. Between 15,000 and 17,000 years ago, they're saying, is when Europeans first came over to the Americas. And that's 5,000 or 7,000 years before the Asians came over. And so that's a controversy, and I don't mind telling people I believe it was the Europeans that came here first. Hasn't won me a lot of friends, but I didn't expect it to. I just say what's on my mind. If I see something interesting in science, interesting in mainstream or counterculture, or any kind of human interaction, which I think is kind of freaky or interesting or amazing, then I'll share it. like with Thomas Sowell. Love him. I've been sharing him a lot lately. But this one is important. This is the fart theory. It's good stuff.
The Genesis Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we're here live. We had Jesse Ventura for you last week, Tommy Chung for you last week. We're going to have Tommy Chung and Cheech reunite. They just got back together last week for the first time in more than 20 years, they say, on this show, coming up in about 2 weeks. Got some other big guests lined up during the week I'm not going to tell you about. Joe Rogan, host of Ultimate Fighting, fighting champion in his own right, starred in a whole bunch of top TV shows. I mean, the list goes on and on. JoeRogan.net, got a lot of great comedy DVDs and CDs out there available. Find out more just by Googling Joe Rogan or going to JoeRogan.net. Look, I know I've got 20-something phone calls here, though. The phone system's completely filled up, which it always does. I don't know how we're going to get to everybody, but we'll go to those in a few minutes with Joe Rogan. I don't want to burn him out coming on the show, but I'm really enjoying this. I want to have him back up soon. We've already been with us 2 hours. Joe, we were talking in the behind the scenes. You said what you call the fart principle, excuse your French, is so important that you wanted to say it to the full audience. So tell us about the methane gas principle.
Well, this is what it means. It's a silly name, but the reason why I call it that is because, you know, what the idea behind it is if you look at reality and how you perceive reality, we look through our eyes, we smell through our nose, we hear things. Well, if somebody farted around you and you couldn't smell, if you didn't hear it, you'd have no idea that anything was going on. If you didn't have a sense of smell, there'd be something invisible that you would not be able to detect. And you'd be just sitting in someone's stink and not even knowing about it, right? How do we know that there are an infinite number of things that we can't detect? And we can't even imagine because we just don't have the sensitivity to it.
Well, the mathematical equations
usually be.
Well, the mathematical equations show that, Joe. It shows there are other dimensions all around us.
Yes, absolutely. Sure. I mean, I've heard that. I don't really understand it. I can't really follow the logic of it. I'm not a mathematician. But from what I understand, you know, when you hear these guys talking about quantum physics and things, that they actually can sort of mathematically show that it's